Welcome back. We are going to record the fifth and the final video for this e-learning package for level 2 award for door supervisors. It's a mandatory video to watch if you are thinking of enrolling on this qualification. You need to complete this package before you are able to enroll onto the full 6 days course. So we are going to cover post-incident management, which is learning outcome 11, understand good practice for post-incident management. Now, post-incident means after incident. So the incident has already happened. What do you do now? Now, anyone can be affected by something they have seen or experienced. For example, violence in the workplace, a first aid incident, such as a heart attack or a seizure, people getting injured, right? Or a traffic accident, maybe a child is lost. Yeah. No one is immune from shock or post traumatic stress disorder. Most people will be affected at some point in their lives, whether the effect is temporary or long term. Yeah. Now, experiencing stress or PTSD, which is post traumatic stress disorder, is not a sign of weakness. You need to get the right help and support. Okay. So, it is important that businesses and organizations are able to help staff after an incident, right? Particularly in relation to any providing immediate and ongoing support, right? Helping all members of staff to learn from the incidents, updating their policies and procedures to improve safety and sharing any good practice. Yeah. Um, Now, accessing help and support following a conflict, because of their varying degrees of experience and exposure to conflict, people cope with stress in different ways. Now, incidents where people are abused, threatened, or even assaulted in the workplace can have various different impacts. So, all security operatives need to be aware of what is available out there to help them if they need assistance or support following a traumatic accident or an incident or a near miss or a dangerous occurrence. Now, response to the incidents, what needs to happen? Ensure that, what you need to do. Typical symptoms are how the brain and body react to abnormal situations or incidents. The severity of the symptoms can depend on the severity of the incident. So you need to understand how severe the incident is, or if you don't, then you need to seek professional help. So, in the time following the incident, anyone could start to feel shock, anger, embarrassment, and disbelief. Now, typical effects, short term and long term symptoms following exposure to workplace violence could include sickness, insomnia. What is insomnia? Insomnia is where you're not able to sleep, behavioral changes, people change behavior, become withdrawn, they don't talk to people, they don't go out, they're anxious about their appearance, their behavior, they are intolerant, they become very sensitive, they started to fear, they can go into depression, loss of confidence, they might be stressed, they may feel post-traumatic stress disorder. Okay, so we have to be careful if we are feeling a bit isolated and if we are feeling just a bit down, we need to get the right help. Okay. So, post incident, it is vital that if a member of staff start to show any signs that they may be suffering from any of these symptoms, support must be given immediately to reduce the changes of long term effects. Okay, support can be provided by the colleagues if possible, by the management if possible, uh, from counselors, helplines such as Samaritans, Citizen Advice Bureau, trade unions, trade publications such as Victim Support. You can also visit their website www.victimsupport.org.uk. Now, if that doesn't help, then you need to seek professional medical advice. You need to go to your GP and listen to them. Now, reflecting and learning from conflict. So, dealing with people, particularly within the private security industry, is a large ongoing learning curve. You keep on learning, you never stop learning. There is always room for improvement in everything you do. Okay, now we will discuss the 6 basic steps to take following an incident of violence in the workplace. What are those 6 steps? Let's have a look. The first step is reflect on what happened. Look for the good and bad in all cases. Consider what happened. Why did that happen? Right? What went wrong? Was there anything with my training? What could you have done better? So you reflect. You sit back and relax and reflect. Why did that happen to me? Maybe I was aggressive. Maybe I was not talking to them professionally. Could I do something better than that? The second step is recognize trends and any poor practice. Recognize trends mean is it been happening again and again? It happened last night, it happened today, it happened 3 days before, it happened 6 months before. Why? Why? Does the problem occur regularly? Why is it happening? At any particular place or time? Does it happen at the entrance all the time? Does it happen when you're outside? Can you reduce or stop these type of incidents? What can you do? Can you work in teams maybe? Is there something you are doing wrong? Maybe your appearance is not correct. Maybe you're not wearing your uniform properly. What is the common response to this type of situation? Right? Maybe there are more people there, then people get angry. So you need to analyze the trends and patterns, why it is happening, and then come up with an action plan, right? The third step is share good practice. People often forget to accept praise for a job well done. Consider, did you do something well? Right? Does everyone knows about it? If you were involved in a situation and you did something well and it worked, you need to share that good practice with other people as well, so they can put those controls in place that you did put in place and make improvements. Does it need to be a policy? Right? If you want it to be a policy, you can raise that concern with your manager, and then they can channelize that information to the people who make policies, right? Unless you provide that feedback to your management, they will not be able to make that policy. Maybe you want them to implement a policy where you work in teams. Maybe you want them to implement a policy where you want body worn cameras for any evidence collection, right? So you need to share that good practice and raise concerns with your management, and obviously work as a team. Learn from what happened. That's quite important. How do you make sure this does not happen again, right? Maybe there was a problem with your presence. Maybe there was a problem with your attitude. Maybe there was a problem with your training. Maybe there was a problem with your uniform. Can you improve something for the next time? Maybe you are more approachable. Maybe you talk to them more professionally. Maybe you improve your training communication skills, right? So remember, there is such a thing. There is no such thing as bad shift, right? Sometimes improvements cannot be made as the circumstances is highly unlikely to arise again. So if it's something like that, it could be an occasional thing, but you still need to reflect and learn from it. Now, updating policies and practices and procedures that may be outside of scope of your duties, but always channelize that information to your management so they may be able to make those changes. Is your organization policies or practices and procedures up to date? If they're not, you need to report back, tell, look, we need to update this, and then obviously management will discuss it and then come back to you. Communication is very important. Communication will always be 2 ways. Your feedback going to the management, and then they are addressing your concerns. Yeah. Then the last step is monitor progress. Whatever action planning has been put in place, it may not be the exact what you want or exactly working. So what you need to do is to make sure that monitor the effectiveness of the procedures and policies and procedures which were already existing, or maybe you are putting in place um, to make improvements. Yeah. How can you record future incidents better? Maybe you can wear a body worn cam. How can you monitor the effectiveness of any changes made? Right? When and how can you reevaluate your future performance? Maybe you can ask your peers. Yeah. Maybe you can self reflect. Okay. Maybe always consider the possibility of legal action being taken against the company. Now, due diligence may protect the contract and therefore your jobs. Now, after the incident, there must be debriefing, right? Debriefing helps to improve how similar problems are dealt with in the future, reduces the chances of them happening again, or can even stop them from happening at all. Yeah. Now, organizations can use data that has been collected for licensing hearings, and they may even be able to reduce the chance of them happening in the first place or even stop them from happening at all. If they do occur, security operatives should be able to provide an agreed common positive response each time, automatically improving their own safety because you've learned it. Now, it is uh, in everyone's best interest to be continuously improving your work practices. Learn, reflect, change, provide feedback, ask for feedback, promote a professional service, increase safety for the staff, promote teamwork, increase safety for the customers, be professional at all times, identify procedures or methods to better deal with the situations effectively, share that good practice with your colleagues, share that, a good practice with your company. They might be able to change policies and procedures, work as a team, always remain professional. Okay, like all industries, the security industry needs to continue to evolve and progress. Now, security operatives have the responsibility to ensure that they continually contribute to improving practices within the industry. And that can only happen if you communicate, if you reflect, if you learn, and if you look at the trends and patterns, and then obviously change policies and procedures, work as a team, and then see how you can improve because there is always room for improvement. Okay, now we'll look at some questions. Explain where post-incident support resources can be found, right? It can be found, you know, you can talk to your colleagues, talk to your management, counselors, or helplines, or if you can't, go to your GP. Explain why it is important to access support following an incident. Now, people cope with assaults and incidents in different ways. Anyone can start to feel shock, anger, embarrassment, and disbelief. Now, if you are feeling the pressure or if you think that you're not feeling well, you need to get the right help. You need to talk to your management. You need to talk to your loved ones. You need to talk to somebody who you trust. Now, identify the indicators of abuse. Okay, identify the indicators of abuse. So, sickness, insomnia, where they can't sleep, anxiety, fear, loss of confidence. There are many, but you can use these five. Now, this is the end of the fifth video and the last video. So, there are in total 5 videos that you need to watch. It's mandatory to watch all these videos. Why it's mandatory to watch all these videos? Because if you don't watch them, you will not be able to do your exam. And we will not repeat this content in the class. And I look forward to see you in the class. Thank you very much for attending this. Thank you.